Welcome back to Omnifactory. And let's start today's episode with some corrections from last episode. First of all, I did mention that we need to sort out some kind of system once it actually finished with the hole in the axis. It turns out it's a little bit nicer than that, and it will just dump those into the output slots once they're used up with power, and they still do take some durability damage, so we are going to need to figure out to repair a system at some point, but they do last an awful lot longer. If I just have a look in the system, back, there you see. The backhoe doesn't really show the durability, but it does show the power, and you'll see that's depleted. And if we just look at the axe, the dark axe will show the durability. You see that's down to 3/4 basically of full. However, it is charging in my inventory that's already charged. This one's charged, and then you can just dump these back in. No need to craft anymore. Just pop them back in, and they will start up again. Off it goes, and you'll see in my system I have 2,000 resin, which is more than enough for any foreseeable future, so that's that problem sorted. The other one was I did mention about the system for generating XP. What I didn't know is that overworldian matter or extraterrestrial matter, I forgot to read the tooltip. Yep, whoops. Can be consumed for experience. 31 levels. We don't really need this, so I'm just going to get rid of you and get rid of you. And thank you very much to the commenters who did actually mention this. Yep, I didn't read the tooltip. It's one of those things. It happens. Anyway, on with today's episode, we need to get into the next set of quests, and we are now thoroughly into mid-game. We have pretty much completed early game. I don't think there's anything else in here that I really need. Maybe creative flight, but we have some ender hook options and staff of teleportation options for that. So we need to get started into this with first tier 4 circuit, and I've had the system craft one, so let's grab you. That should be enough to get the quest. Good. You can go away again until I need you next. And then in the quest book, I did want to just claim that. That's 2 Omni quarters. Also, one thing I wanted to do that I missed from oh wow, I almost forgot the name of the series then. Project Ozone 3. If we have a look in options controls, and I want A2, I just want to see whether, yes, so open whilst crafting terminal. If you press Shift E here, for instance, and save that, instead of having it in your inventory having to go to it as an item, I'm not sure if it actually works otherwise. Yes, it does. So it doesn't matter where it is in your inventory whatsoever, as long as it's in your inventory. I can just press Shift E anytime, and that saves me having to go to the item and scrolling backwards and forwards all the time. So I can do it even when I have a drill in my hands, or indeed more to the point, Yeta wrenches, steel wrenches, and screwdrivers, which is what I tend to need more than anything else. All right, so that's that quest done. We need to move on to vacuum freezer, and that's heading us towards stuff we already have. So let's go and have a look at the vacuum freezer. It isn't actually doing anything at the moment, so let's just take this block, and that's that quest done. Easy, and let's get the rewards for that. 5 Omni nickel. Blast furnaces galore. Is that even more blast furnaces? It is. We need like 8 controllers. We could do that. I mean, you can just pick out the controllers, and that's 2 already, and then put them back again afterwards and just make the extras. It just seems like hopefully that's not needed for any kind of mandatory quests. But it does look like it's blocking our way to Canthal, which we've already made. So cryogenic air distillation. The machine controller and frostproof machine casings. Okay. Modular machine controller. Okay. That should be you. And that's that. It wants 50 frostproof machine casings and 50 solid steel machine casings. Oh, wow. Oh, sorry, 84 solid steel machine casings. So I presume we can actually produce a huge cryogenic air distillation thing with more of this modular machine controller, and you can make the modularium with deuterium, which we were able to get from the moon dust. So yes, we can then build another machine. Let's just take a look. Liquid air can be sent into a cryogenic distillation tower to break it down into its components, and then we can then use that for other processes. So and despite accepting EU power, modular machines will not overclock. So you go back here, you'll see this is just directly accepting RF, which is much nicer and handier than having to go through a CEF all the time. But that's probably something we need to make more of. Anyway, do we need any other quests here before we get that? Looks like that's going to block us from doing anything else. So let's take a look at Frostproof machine casing. I think I already have the recipe. Frostproof, yes. Yeah, we do. So we need 50 of this. So what's 44 more? You're missing a wrench and you're missing lots of aluminium. And aluminium is currently being... Sorry, aluminum, if you're American, is currentently being smelted in this, and we'll also perhaps put them into the other smeltery as well. Well, blast furnace, I should say. It's not really a smeltery. Certainly not Tinker's Construct. But there we go. That can start producing, and once we get a stack there, we should be able to use that. We'll put that away. Let's just take a look at the other thing it wants. So that's going to take a little while. Solid steel machine casing. Okay, solid steel. Clearly it's going to need steel, but how much steel do we actually need here? So if we need 84, we need something like, so let's just round it up to 90. So yeah, that needs basically 30 batches of this, and the steel frames are so 3, let's call it 4, 5, 6. Let's call it 6 for 4, so let's just call it 1 each. That will do. And go back. So let's just say it's 7 per batch. So that means like 210 steel. Yeah, we need a little bit less than that, but it should be fine. We'll just tell the system to craft it. I'm not sure it's going to like that. Or at least this is probably going to tie up my system for quite some time. Steel ingots. Steel ingot. Yep. Let's just see what it says when I say craft 210. It's missing lots of charcoal, but otherwise it can actually manage the rest, and it will be going through various processes. So let's just get some charcoal sorted. That is, I don't know why I need to go to here. We don't really need to do that, but just as our farm is producing other things, it can also produce wood outside quite easily, and we get lots of stuff. So that will quickly smelt up. So that's that sorted, and then I can order the steel from the system. Okay, while that's all going on, there's quite a lot of steel to go. Let's have a look at these other quests surrounding this. I've got the blast furnaces, 6 of them being crafted. That will get us this quest that's in early game that isn't, I didn't consider essential right here. More blast furnaces, we need 4 there. In fact, has it finished already? Looks like it hasn't, because it's queued behind the steel, and that's actually crafting a good couple of stacks. So we'll need to do some other quests first, which is fine. There are other ones to get on with. In particular, we're going to want palladium. It says if you haven't found platinum yet, you may need to buy palladium as well. So let's just double check platinum. I have got platinum. I'm not sure where I got it from. Let's just check palladium. Palladium we don't have yet, but palladium ore is a couple of omni quarters. At this point, I can afford them, so I'm just going to take 1 half stack, and then let's see what can we actually do to process this. Is it going to require our usual ore washing? It looks like it is, so crushed palladium ore and stone dust, etc. So yeah, let's just send that upstairs. And advanced macerator, you can go ahead and start working on that. We may get what we need out of it. We may need to go through ore washing other stages, but that is that one started. Down here, HV assembler. I thought I'd already made one of those. Did I not? Advanced assembling machine for another reason. Assembling. I didn't make a 2, I made a 1. Okay, what does it need for a 2? The unfortunate part of advanced assembling machines are that they need typically higher tier stuff than what you might think. So HVT, you might think it's HV. I think it's higher tier stuff. Well, the HV. No, it's fine. What am I thinking of then? Maybe I'm just... Maybe I don't remember it right. But it certainly is tier 4 circuits. That's for sure. And robot arms, conveyor modules, robot arms, yeah. I think we have pretty much everything we need for this. So we could go ahead and do that. But we don't really have too many high voltage lines out there just yet. But we can certainly move across to it. So that's not going to be a problem. I just need to wait for the system to free up a little bit. Let's look over here. So navigating petrochem even. It's very, very easy to get overwhelmed by all the petrochemical stuff in GregTech, but doing the basics isn't very difficult with a little bit of guidance. There are 3 types of oil that you need to find: heavy oil, raw oil, or light oil. Raw oil, just called oil in JEI. Something you can think of as medium oil. Okay, it's a good starting point for fuel because it contains the ingredients for fuel in roughly the correct ratios. Next request will discuss how to turn raw oil into fuel. Once you've mastered this, feel free to explore petrochem mechanics here, more with the basic standards or correct way to do things in the end. Okay, so it's just a checkbox task. Detect that, press claim, and we get the next quest. So that is going to take us into various other things. So yeah, sulfuric heavy fuel, sulfuric light fuel, naphtha, and gas. Now remember last episode we built the distillation tower? Well, we only have 2 outputs for it at the moment, so until I put more sort of layers, I won't be able to get all of these out. So if we just have a look here and the distillation tower, you'll see that light oil outputs heavy fuel, light fuel, naphtha, and sulfuric gas. Was it sulfuric gas the quest wanted? Yes, it was. So yeah, we just need to basically go through that process. And light oil is just found in places, it seems. What about the oil sands ore? Can we get it out of that? Because I've got loads of that stuff. Oil sands ore. Smelt it. We get oil sands dust. Okay, so oil sands dust. And we electrolyze that and we get oil. Okay, so that's straightforward. Can we put that through the distillation tower? We can. And that goes into each of those 4 things. So the only thing we actually need is to extend our distillation tower upwards, and then we can already process some of this. So let's just get oil sands, and you'll see I've got like 5,000 of it, just because it's very, very common. At least in my playthrough, it's very common. So let's just smelt that. And did that turn into, yeah, there it is. So oil sands dust, and we'll just do an entire stack. And then I don't want to electrolyze it necessarily just yet, but do we have any spare electrolyzers? Electrolyzer, no, it doesn't look like we do. How about the process itself? So oil sands, does it need anything special or just like a really sort of simple setup? Oil sands electrolyzer is just low voltage, so we don't need anything special. But it does take 17 seconds per dust. It's not too bad. It's a bucket per process. So, 3 buckets a minute. And we'll have to see how much that actually comes out. So this only takes 1 second. But it is 96 EU per tick. And that produces all of these. But we don't get very much out, you'll see. So, but that's for 50. So that is 20 times this amount is what we'll get out. So 1/3 of a bucket per second we can technically deal with. So yeah, our electrolyzer is going to be massively the bottleneck there. Because this is only going to come out every... in fact, oh, hang on. 1 second. So if this is a 20th, this will actually take 20 seconds. So it's this that's actually going to be the bottleneck. So fine, 1 electrolyzer will do the job just fine. And we can get that started. So can we tell the system to make 1, or is it going to just object on the grounds that I'm missing stuff? You were just missing some circuits, so I'm just going to craft 2 of you. Rather than just replace the recipe, I'll just get them crafted up. Are you finished with the steel yet? You are, well, halfway through. Okay, we'll come back in a minute. And for a brief interlude, we're over here on the moon with my oxygen running out, and I'm just going to basically take my scanner, and let's see if it can actually start mining. I'm going to go over to the center of this big sort of chunk here, roughly the center. This will do fine. I'm going to just go here, claim our chunks. So let's just claim all this area. Okay, and I'm going to also chunk load them, at least temporarily, and we'll release them later, because I want to just set up my mining equipment. So my vertical digger can go in, and then my 3, 1, 2, and 3 sort of add-ons to increase its range, and we're going to press the reset button. And then we're also just going to drop down our vibrant capacitor bank, probably there. That is full. Yeah, it filled while it was in my inventory. And then we'll do the usual thing of just putting everything else around it. Whoops. Still this issue with gravity, but that's fine. And item conduit. Output always active. Input all the time. And are you digging? You are mining. So that is going to work just fine. And we'll be able to head back home. So that hopefully will find scheelite ore. Now, scheelite ore, it just helps with making other stuff, and it's generally only found out here on the moon. So if we find any new ores, I'll be sure to let you know. But do consider the moon a new mining target as far as, well, basically what you want to get going. You want to have the moon available. So let me just refill the oxygen here. Let's step onto here. Yep, there we go. And we'll just take that stuff off. I could do with a high capacity tank at some point. Anyone know if there's a high capacity tank available? If there is, cool. I will probably look at crafting it. Because let's just see. Tank. It was a low pressure tank, but there are others. Tank of rocket fuel. Not exactly what I want to breathe. Oh, there we go. Super high pressure tank. So maybe that can actually let us craft things. You only need stainless steel plate, but a signalum portable tank, which is different. We haven't really made signalum yet. It shouldn't be impossible to make. Primal mana, we did actually make that, so we do have some mana, or we do have some mana dust available. Signalum blend is annealed copper and ardite I haven't really got into yet. This is sort of a long chain. Red steel dust and blaze powder, bismuth bronze and sterling silver. Yep, it's doable, but just a long tier of stuff to get out of the way first. Anyway, back to well, has our system actually finished yet? Have you finished your half stack? Nearly done. I'm sorry, I just remembered I didn't tell you why we needed scheelite. Scheelite happens to be a nice easy source of manganese dust, 14% chance. It's the same thing you do with ruby dust, the ruby ore, sorry, to get a chance of chrome. But in this case, obviously you go through crushed, and crushed you can wash, and as soon as you wash it, you get tiny piles of manganese, which will just build up in the same way that the tiny piles of chrome do. So because we have ruby ore, let's just take a look at here, ruby ore. I think I've still got some crushed, yeah, so there's the purified, the crushed. That will just go straight into your ore washing plant wherever you have that, and that will happily generate enough chrome. We've got enough iron dust easily to create lots of stainless steel, and it's stainless steel that's really the bottleneck at the moment for the rest of the factory. Stainless steel dust needs nickel, which you can just buy outright if you wanted to. I suppose there is a way, is there a particular ore to get nickel? Well, it's a third output potentially from doing the crushed gold ore, so we could just go getting gold, that's fine. The middle is the manganese, that's the stuff we need scheelite for. There's other ways to get to it, but it just happens to be easier to get it that way if we get it from the moon. And then chrome dust, we already know that's through crushed ruby ore. And we can just have a look here into our ores. You'll see there's lots of stuff being dragged up by that miner, but I don't think the scheelite is one of them just yet. Oh, hang on, we're starting to get some. Yep, that's good. In fact, I will use that if that's, I assume that's stuff that's coming straight from the moon. I can't really tell at this point. But yeah, in here, all of this ore has really come from that miner. No, almost none of it is stuff I've actually purchased, but you can just see there's like thousands of tin and copper and oil sands. So we probably should process that oil sands to get it back out of the system anyway. This scheelite, we're going to deal with it in a, well, a nice, more efficient way. You can just smelt it, and then you can get some other stuff out of it that way. But, and it also gets tungsten, by the way, so that's the other reason for having it. However, if we pulverize it, we'll potentially get some manganese. We can take the crushed, and then we can ore wash that. We'll get some more manganese, and then we'll end up with purified, which we can centrifuge down into the word that I always forget how to actually say. Molybdenum. No, I can't. No, I always forget it. I can't say that word. Why can't I say it? Molybdenum. Yes, I will actually say this. Molybdenum. Oh. It's because it's more like the Americans. It's an American pronunciation of aluminium. Which is aluminum. So I because I'm used to saying aluminium, it doesn't work for molybdenum. It is English accents anyway. Don't get me started with the accents. And yeah, just a brief thing. If you're American and Southern and you say across instead of across, there is no T in across. But I know it's just irritating me, and I know it's a very common thing in America. I'm so sorry. Anyway, moving on. Our system should be ready now, hopefully. Okay, out of that stack, we got the crushed palladium ore. We got 64 of it, but we did get 1 palladium dust out of that. That should just smelt up. Oh, in fact, no, it has to go in the outside. I wonder if you need something higher than what we have. You need 1700k. That is going to be easy. So that is not hard at all. Let's just get, whoops, this way. Yep, we can just put you in here, take this out, and that will process just fine. Obviously, this tier of the mechanical coal blocks is much faster than this one. I put in pretty much 4 stacks at roughly around the right kind of same time, and off that's going. So palladium should be in our system. Let's just take a look. I need to remember that I can just hit it with a key combination. There's palladium, and we should get the quest. There we go. All right, let's get that going, and then in the quests claim, where's palladium taking us? So carbon fibers, interesting. So carbon fibers is an autoclave. It's just carbon dust and palladium. Okay. I guess we can make a lot of it. Yeah, because it's only 1 millibucket, which we should get 144 batches, basically, of carbon dust. So I'll probably want to make a lot of carbon dust, just in case we need this for all of carbon fibers. Let's see what it actually leads to. So fiber reinforced epoxy resin pulp, that's a mouthful. Resin sheet, and it makes the next tier of CPU wafers, along with energized glowstone. And can we actually just cut those into nano CPUs? Yes, that takes us to... Okay, energy storage. Okay, better tier 3 circuits. Sorry, tier 4. No, tier 3 circuits. I'm not sure whether we need those, but we probably need them to make the next tier up of tier 4 circuits by comparison. So that's data storage. Do we... hopefully we don't need that specifically for the emitter HV. I don't think we do. Yeah, so we're going to need it for lots of other stuff. Yeah, so the third tier 4 circuit. So to get higher versions of the tier 4 circuits, we do need these prior upgraded versions. So we do need the raw carbon fibers for that. Let's just see if there's anything else this actually is required for. So they're just the CPUs. What's this fiber reinforced epoxy resin sheet? Is this for circuits as well? Yes, it is. It's for the next circuit board. So that's going to be for our upgraded circuits. So we don't need the rest of that just yet. There's a HV chemical reactor in there as well for us to do. Over here on the right hand side, obviously we've got this oil system, which we're going to be going pretty soon once I build some of the other components. But over here we've got elite components. Now we already got the system to craft those, so we can just get that pretty much turned in. So let's just grab the elite components. We've got one spare, clearly. There we go. Put you back, and then let's just make an elite catalyst, because it's no doubt going to need that next. Let's grab you, get you all done. So elite catalyst, and then the elite extended crafting table. So it's probably going to be one of these recipes, I imagine. Let's just take a look at the crafting table, because we can probably see that already. We need one of these, which is one of these recipes. So it does need blocks of aluminium, black steel, which I think we could already make. Can we already make this? Black steel? Is the system capable of creating it? Black steel. Well, we've already got some. The system can't make it, but we've already got some. That's going to be fine, at least for the moment. And crafting table. Crafting. What else do you need? You need all these components which the system can make, and the table itself. Or at least another copy of the table. We may want to leave this one as it is. And then, of course, we get the Elite Extended version. And that gets us, well, 24 recipes up to the Ultimate Extended Crafting Table. That's getting ridiculous. But you can see, obviously, this is a larger crafting grid. And we can get crystalline ingots from here with relatively common materials, which will then let us make crystalline component. Wow, this is going a little bit high. That's how we get the automation even interface. So yeah, there's that's getting ridiculous. Anyway, we will get there because it is something we need to get to, but not just yet. And then Guardian helmets, so higher tiers of armor, more than good enough for now. So we can just get that components. Let's just get it from the system. Elite. Where's our catalyst? Give me that. Good. We can go away again. And then that probably is going to unlock the next quest. Yeah, there you go. We can see the ultimate component there. We only need one of each tier, but yeah, we don't need it just yet, just because the system's still crafting a lot of the aluminium up. And I'm going to process this scheelite ore. I'm going to do that via what was the first stage? It's going to be pulverization, isn't it? So let me just go and put that in the macerator. In fact, we can test whether the system is getting scheelite from the moon. Well, it hasn't found any yet, so that's fine. That's not where I wanted to go. Was it? Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. I need the macerator. There you go. That can start processing. Good. And then, are you finished with a steel? We have that already. 27 left. Okay. And our system is finally done with the frostproof machine casings and the other solid steel machine casings and another modular machine controller. I made an extra one. So there we go. Cryogenic air distillation. So this is going to be quite a large structure by comparison to the rest. But we do get this done as a quest. And you'll see it leads on to nitrogen and noble gases, which will probably lead on to other things, argon in particular. Okay, and let's just put this away for a second, and let's take a look at what we need for that. So cryogenic, yeah, let's take a look at that. You'll see this is huge, but let's take a look at the various levels. So level 0, big fluid input hatch. So we're going to need to create some other stuff, ludicrous. Well, various different tiers of output hatches. That's fine. I'm not going to bother building it too much this episode other than laying out where I want it on the floor. Remembering that I need an extra row at the back. So it is going to be 5 deep, well, 6 deep, and then 6 across. So it's going to be quite a large machine. And then from every layer upwards from that, let's just turn this off again. Can we go back to that? So, yep, it's solid across the bottom. Next tier up has got a gap in the middle, and it's surrounded, that 2x2, by some solid steel machine casings, and up that goes. So that's 10 tall. Fine. So we're gonna have to find a place for this where it'll actually fit. So I normally leave a couple of spare sort of blocks in between. So if we had it the same as the rest, we'd sort of construct the back face there. So if we then put this here, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 across, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here you go, 5, something like that. And of course we need to replace one of these with a controller. Let's just make it that one, just for argument's sake. Shouldn't matter which one it is. And then the rest of this is just going to be solid. Okay, and I've got the rest of them basically build on the back. But let's take a look at that. Click that previous tier. What's the second tier up? Is it just solid apart from the middle section? Hang on a second. Am I getting that wrong? No, that's fine. Yeah, so it is the middle 2 on all axes that are basically going to be empty. So, because this is sort of slightly distanced from the edge, we're just going to put this down here. Oops, not there. And then everything else should work. We need to just put the rest of this at the back. And do it this side. And then hopefully this, normally these quests, unfortunately, give you the wrong amount of materials. You're normally slightly short. Yeah, like for example here. So we may need a couple more of the frostproof machine casings, but it shouldn't be a problem. And then all we need to do in the middle is basically build up this solid steel like this, as far up as we can go, really. So there's 10 layers. So that's layer, hang on, 10 layers. Yeah, so that's layer 3. And it's slightly taller than that, and then you're capped with these in the middle to basically cap off the building. It's just that it doesn't show the schematic with all the layers. If you zoom out here, however, you can actually see that there's many more layers than that. So if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 visible layers of the steel, and then that's 9 visible layers, and then the capstone at the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the capstone up at the top. And then that's pretty much it for that stuff. And then we just need to obviously fill in the rest. So we need a fluid input hatch here, and then at the back, if you have a little look, none of the layers is particularly troubling, even though they don't show all the layers. And in fact, it doesn't even go back down to 0. Sometimes that's slightly annoying. So big fluid input hatch, or whatever size we actually like, a ZP, well, an energy input made out of modularium, and then fluid output hatches. Now the fluid output hatches basically says however many fluids we actually want out of this thing. So if we have a look at the oil, and not heavy oil, just regular oil, yep. And we have a look at distillation tower, In fact, no, this isn't distillation tower. I'm thinking of something entirely different. This is going to be for getting the gas separation, isn't it? So we want liquid air, sorry, in JAI, liquid air. So the output for this is got basically four. Yeah, just 4 outputs. So maybe build it with 5 and see where you go there. We will need, of course, a couple more of these Frostproof machine casings. And just to make the final few components, we're going to need an energy input. Basically, I've gone for HV. That should do for now. And then I've made some tiny fluid output hatches. We may well want to upgrade those to normal or large, etc. I just want to get the machine block up and running. So back here, it probably shouldn't matter which way around we've got this. So the energy input normally put near the middle, because you can't really put it in the middle in a 6x6. I'm just going to put it on the right hand edge, and let's just try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And will you form? Are you invalid? Let's see. Structure found none. Structure found none. Missing structure. This looked right to me. Maybe I need to recheck it. Tiny fluid input hatch. Modular machine controller. Where are we now? Liquid air. Liquid air. Okay. And so liquid air uses. There we go. The machine blueprint. So it's cryogenic air distillation. That's fine. So bottom tier. Yeah, I didn't build it wrong. Well, aside from one thing, you do actually need to put the HV energy input or whichever energy input in that specific slot. It won't work on the edge here. Otherwise, that forms into a block and everything works as you might expect. So now this needs to be hooked up for our system for electricity, but we don't need to do that this episode. We've got the whole structure done, and that's more than good enough for me for right now. I can hook it up at my leisure. Basically, we're going to take in air from a regular sort of air collector, put it into a vacuum freezer, which will freeze it into liquid air, then pipe it through into here, into this input hatch, probably with, you know, the larger variety of hatches, and from here we'll get nitrogen and argon and other stuff out of it, which we'll be using in further processes. But this is an important and huge machine for our factory. So today I think that's enough for one episode, and we'll see you next time for some more Omnifactory. If you've got any questions, comments, put them in the comments down below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. More than happy to see those. Otherwise, feel free to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell for notifications. But the comments are more important than all that, let's be honest, and lots of comments from people sharing tips with other people who are playing through. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time for some more Omnifactory.